Hi, this is Arthur, and this is a summary of the story in the Summertime Fantasia event in Genshin Impact version 2.8. The traveler receives a message from Catherine to meet Fischl, so they head over to Cathedral Plaza in Mondstadt. They meet up with Fischl and Mona and are told that Klee's mother Alice has given them an island in the Golden Archipelago to play with. They ask the traveler to go with them as the traveler has already been there. They decide to invite Venti too and head over to the bar where they find Venti, Kazuha, and Xinyan who are visiting. Venti pulls them aside and hands them a device he got from Alice that allows communication over great distances. The traveler then invites all of them to the trip. Venti declines while Xinyan and Kazuha decide to go. They meet up and head outside the city where there is a giant dodoko. They all step inside the giant dodoko and are transported to the Golden Archipelago. Once there, they all start playing and hanging out while the traveler and Kazuha go exploring. They then find a machine with evidence that Fatui are nearby. They follow some tracks to a Fatui named Persikov and another unhinged Fatui soldier. Persikov explains that they thought the island was uninhabited, so they used it for an experiment. Persikov goes on to say that the experiments failed and that they plan to leave. Kazuha suggests not telling the others about the Fatui so as not to ruin the vacation. They head back and get some food with the gang before heading off and calling Venti with the device he gave them. They ask Venti about the Fatui, but Venti doesn't know anything. The next day, the gang finds a talking squirrel and a talking boat named Mitoboru, among other odd things. Just then, a bunch of odd islands suddenly appear. Mitoboru then offers to take them to the new islands. They arrive to one of the islands and they find a bonsai pot Kazuha remembers from his childhood. Kazuha says that he knows this bonsai pot as a family heirloom of the Kaidahara clan. Kazuha tries touching it and it teleports the group into an Inazuma-styled house. Kazuha is missing, so the group goes looking for him. As they look around, they find letters and hear voices indicating that they are within Kazuha's memories. They eventually find Kazuha and explore more of this mirage, learning more about Kazuha's past. Kazuha also tells the story about his family. Kazuha's father and great-grandfather loved bonsai plants. During the great-grandfather's time, the clan had fallen into disarray. Kazuha's father traveled far and wide to find a solution. Unfortunately, Kazuha's great-grandfather passed away before his grandfather could return and he never got to say goodbye. The clan continued to decline and most of the clan's possessions were lost except for this bonsai pot and was considered a family heirloom. Kazuha theorizes that the appearance of this bonsai plant as a gateway into the mirage seems to be an opportunity to rectify past regrets. They continue exploring the mirage and see more of Kazuha's memories. They see scenes of Kazuha's father encouraging him not to be burdened by past issues of the Kaidahara clan and be free. They also see memories of Kazuha's regret at not being able to share his father's burdens and watching the decline of his clan. Other memories include Kazuha winding down the clan, traveling around, his resistance to the Vision Hunt decree, his friend's duel and death to the Shogun, and eventually him escaping Inazuma. At the end of this journey, Kazuha seems to have come to terms with his past. Despite desiring freedom from past burdens, Kazuha also wants to keep the Kaidahara traditions alive. They leave the mirage and return to camp and get some food. Fischl seems gloomy though. The next day, they go investigate yet another mirage island. Fischl wanders off on her own. The group heads to the island and finds a drum which Xinyan touches and then transports them into her mirage. Inside Xinyan's mirage, we learn about Xinyan's perseverance in pursuing rock and roll despite heavy resistance from her family. We also see scenes of Xinyan celebrating her birthday with Yunjin and Xiangling and making a birthday wish. As they explore the mirage, they learn that someone designed this island to be a giant instrument. They finish their trip in Xinyan's mirage by Xinyan using the island to play a concert, satisfying her birthday wish to play music with someone no one could have expected. That person is the unknown person who turned this island into a giant musical instrument. The group then decides to head back to camp, but not before taking a look at the Fatui camp. They don't find any Fatui, but they do find Fischl nearby and she's nervous about her mirage. The next day, Fischl is missing, but the group looks for her and finds a book that lets them enter Fischl's mirage. The mirage is of the Immer Nachtreich, the fictional kingdom Fischl constantly talks about. The group proceeds through the kingdom and learns a bit of its fictional history. More importantly, we see Fischl's true history. Fischl's original name was Amy. All of Fischl's pronouncements about being the Prinzessin der Verurteilung and the Immer Nachtreich are part of a game Amy used to play with her parents. As Amy grew older, she tried to continue playing the game with her parents, but her parents pressured her to stop with the fantasies and focus on her studies. They later meet up with Fischl and continue together. Eventually, they meet a dark version of Fischl, representing her self-loathing at her inability to face reality. Fischl defeats the Dark Fischl by embracing her weaknesses and the strength of her unique imagination. A side note, exploring these other realms that represent their inner hearts and fighting dark versions of themselves is literally the core concept behind the Shin Megami Tensei Persona franchise. Afterwards, the traveler contacts Venti again, but someone else answers. This new person advises them to figure out the mirages on their own. The next day, they head towards Mona's mirage. They find a pool of water and hop in. In the Mirage, we learn that early in Mona's career as an astrologer, she honestly told people about their futures, which caused rejection and animosity from those who didn't like what they were told. We also learn about an adventurer Mona once met. When she looked into his future, she saw his death and advised the adventurer to stop adventuring or he would die within 2 years. The adventurer disregarded her advice and Mona regretted it ever since. They eventually reach the end of the Mirage and Mona makes peace with the realities of her profession as an astrologer while staying hopeful towards the possibilities of miracles. The gang returns to the Golden Archipelago and decides to go visit the Fatui machine again, speculating that it is the cause of these mirages. They find Persikov in front of the machine and he seems to have gone insane. They find a nearby manuscript describing the machine and what happened. Persikov originally brought this machine and a bunch of soldiers to this island in order to test it. The machine seeks to replicate the powers of a certain god and can alter the state of people's minds. Unfortunately, the machine malfunctioned, driving everyone insane. The group then finds some misplaced parts and fix the machine. The insane soldiers start regaining their sanity and the group returns to their camp. Once there, Mona mentions that with the machine fixed, she can once again use her astrology and can sense that there is someone observing them. The traveler then walks off and calls Venti, updating him on the situation. As they hang up on Venti, the voice from before speaks to the traveler through her mind. The voice mentions that it sensed the power like its own and was observing the islands. It also claims to have helped design the mirages that they all just went through. The voice suggests they might meet again in the future before saying goodbye and a dendro symbol appearing in the air. And that is the end of this quest in this video. If you've liked what you've seen here, please like, comment, and subscribe.